Hello and welcome to Nkomat Online Academy. In today's lesson, we want to talk about this very important topic which we call probability. This is so important that we use this probability whenever we take decision in life. So it is very important for you to pay very close attention to understand the concepts in this topic. When we are talking about probability, it involves studying chances or studying the chance that something may happen or not. For instance, if you have a coin and you throw it up, what is the chance that you get either the head of the coin or the tail of the coin? Every coin, like your 50 kobo coin, it has two sides, only two sides, the head and the tail. We just number one of the sides head and call the other side a tail. So when you throw the coin up, you will never be sure which of the sides that will show up. You will never be sure whether it is the head that you will see that will show up or whether it is the tail that will show up. Also, when you roll a die, you will never be sure whether you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Like in your board game Ludo, you roll a die. The die, it is numbered from 1 to 6. It has 6 sides. So you never know which of the sides that you are going to get when you roll a die, if you roll it very well, or else you intentionally dropped the side that you want to see. But if you roll it and let it fall freely, you will never be sure which of the sides that will come or that will show, which of the numbers that will show up. So these events that you are never sure what will happen, they are referred to as probabilities. Events that you are never certain, you are never sure what will happen there. We study them in probability. There are so many things that happen in life that we are not sure what will happen. Even when somebody goes to school, the person will be hoping that maybe when I graduate, I will get a nice job and be able to make enough money for myself. Sometimes some people will go to school and get a nice job and start making good money, so the probability will favor them. And some other times, people hoping to do the same thing, they will go to school and after graduating, they may not be able to get a nice job. So you are never sure of what will happen in most things in life. So most things in life involve guessing, and these guessing things is what we study in probability. What is the chance that this thing will happen, and what is the chance that it will not happen? That is what we look at in probability. Before somebody can understand probability very well or do calculations in probability, there are some words that are very, very, very important that every student must know for the person to understand how to work with probability or how to do any calculation involving probability. These words fall under what we call the terminologies in probability. Terminologies in probability. Now, the first of these words is events. In probability, we study events. Event is the chance of something occurring. When you throw up a die, the chance of the head showing up is called an event. The chance of the tail showing up is also called an event. So the chance of something happening is called an event in probability. So there's something we call possible events. Possible events are the events that are likely to happen when you do something. The events that are likely to happen when you do something is called possible events. For instance, when you throw your coin, you will either get your head, you get the head of the coin, or you get tail of the coin. So these events, these two things are the events in throwing a coin, getting a head and getting a tail. They are the events in throwing up a coin. Also, when you roll a die, you may likely get 1 or get 2 or get 3 or get 4 or get 5 or get 6. These are the likely events you can get in rolling a die. So they are called the possible events in rolling a die. If you throw up a coin, you will not get number 6 because coin is not numbered with numbers like a die. You can either get the head or you get the tail. You cannot get number 6 or number 4 or number 3. So these events 1, 2, 3, they are not possible events in throwing up a coin. The only possible event in throwing up a coin are the head and the tail. Also, when you roll a die, you cannot get a tail and you cannot get a head. It does not labeled with head and tail. So these head and tail, they are not possible events in rolling a die. Head and tail are not possible events in rolling a die. They are just the possible events in throwing a coin. In rolling a die, the events that you can get are 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So this means that what is a possible event in one situation may not be a possible event in another situation. What is a possible event in one situation may not be a possible event in another situation. Getting a head is a possible event in a coin, but it is not a possible event in rolling a die. Getting 1 is a possible event in rolling a die, but it is not a possible event in throwing a coin. I hope this is clear. Now we have what we call sample space. Sample space means all the possible events you can get in a situation. For instance, when you throw a coin, there are 2 things that can happen. You can either get the head or you get the tail. When we combine these 2 events, these 2 possible events that you can get in throwing up a coin, we call it the sample space for throwing a coin. Also, when you roll a die, you can either get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So these are the possible events that you can get in rolling a die. When you combine all these possible events, that is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When you combine all of them together, we call it the sample space. That is the outcome, the total possible outcome that you can get in a situation. So what is a sample space for one event may not be the sample space for another event. For the die, the sample space is up to 6. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But In in a coin, the samples we have only two events in the sample space, the head and the tail. So the sample space sometimes can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to anything. So it depends on the situation that is involved. When you combine all the possible events that you can get in that situation, we call it the sample space. I also believe that this one is now clear. Now we have what we call impossible events. Impossible event is talking about an event that is not possible to get in a situation. An event that is not possible to get in a situation. For instance, when we roll our die, it is not possible for you to get tail, and it is not possible for you to get head. So these things that are not possible, or these events that are not possible for you to get in this situation, they are called impossible events. When you throw your die, when you throw your coin, it is impossible for you to get 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or numbers. You can either get head or tail. So the event that you cannot get in a particular situation, they are called impossible events. In everyday life, there are some things that you cannot get in a particular situation. When you plant mango, you can never expect to get cashew nuts. Whatever you sow, that is what you will reap. So this term obeys that law, that what you sow is what you will reap. You cannot plant mango and expect to reap cashew nuts. So cashew nut is an impossible event when you have planted mango. So I believe that this one is also clear now. Now we talk about equally likely events. Equally likely events. Equally likely events is talking about events that have equal chance of occurring. Events that have equal chance of occurring, like when you throw up your coin. You can never be sure whether it is the head that will show up or the tail that will show up. This event where you can never know which or what will happen, and two of them they have the same chance of happening. We call it equally likely events, like throwing your coin. It is either the head drops or the tail drops. When the cloud gathers, it is either it rains or it doesn't rain. So two things are likely to happen, and they have equal chance of happening. We call it equally likely events. Equally likely events. If you write an exam, you have two things that can possibly happen. It is either you pass or you fail. It is either you pass or you fail. But this one may not be under equally likely events, or else there is the probability that the two of them, the likelihood that two of them are likely to happen at the same time or with the same effects. For instance, when the cloud gathers, no one actually knows whether it will rain or it will not rain. Sometimes the cloud gathers and it will rain, and sometimes it gathers and it will not rain. But for exam, if you write very well, you know you have the assurance that you have written very well. But when you are doubting yourself in an exam, you've written, but you are doubting yourself. You don't know actually whether you've written very well or not. It falls under equally likely events. when you are doubting yourself, when you don't have the assurance that you will pass, then two things will likely happen. It is either you pass or you fail. But when you've written and you are sure of what you have written, then maybe you will pass. You will pass when you write and you know that you've written very well. But when you've written and you are not sure what you've written in the exam, then two things have equal likelihood of happening. You cannot control it. It is either you pass or you fail. So that is what we call equally likely events. Now we have independent events. Independent events is talking about events that when they happen, they do not affect each other. That is, what is happening in this one will not affect what is happening in the other one. Like when you roll your die and you throw a coin, the chance of you getting a head in the coin will not be affected by the chance of you getting a number, maybe 6 in the die. There is no relationship between the two. There no person can tell you that because I've thrown a die and I get a head, because I throw a coin and I get a head, that if I roll a die, I'm going to get 6. Two of them, there's no connection between two of them. So two things that when two of them happen together, what you get in one will not be affected by what you get in the other one. We call them independent events. So many things in life are independent. My success in life is independent of your own success in life. If I'm working hard, I'm going to succeed. If you are working hard, you are going to succeed. If another person is not working hard, the person will not succeed. Even though two of you may be staying in the same place, but the person is not working hard, but you are working hard, they will not say that because you have succeeded, that the person is going to succeed. No, it doesn't happen like that. You succeed because of the things that is in you, because you have been working hard. If the person is not working hard, the person will not succeed. So your success is independent of another person's success. So two things that they will not affect each other. The chance of you getting one event in one will not affect the chance of getting another event in the other one. They are called independent events. Now we talk about mutually exclusive events. Mutually exclusive events are events that can never happen at the same time. It is different from independent events. This one are events that can never happen at the same time. Like no person can be alive and be dead at the same time. No one is living and still dead at the same time. It doesn't happen. And no one can pass an exam and still fail that same exam at the same time. You cannot write a quiz, pass it and fail it at the same time. So these two events are mutually exclusive. As somebody that knows probability, you can tell your colleague in the class that maybe when we are talking about life and death, you can say that these two things are mutually exclusive. If the person doesn't know probability, the person will be looking at you somehow like, wow, this guy can speak grammar. But it's just a common term in probability. Two things that can never happen together. No one can be living and still dead at the same time. It doesn't happen. There are so many other things that can never go together. So many of them that cannot go together. Like I also talked about passing an exam and failing it at the same time. They cannot go together. So we call this mutually exclusive events. So with this, We can now go and study probability calculations. No one can ever understand how to work with probability or else the person has understood these terms. And that is why I've decided to give you the meaning of these terms first, so that when we start talking about probability, the main things in probability, then you'll be able to follow or understand it very well. So that is what we have in this lesson, and I believe that it is very clear. In our next lesson, we are now going to go into calculations involving probability. Thank you.